Hello again everyone and welcome to day 2 of the Kickstart Your Pilates challenge. Alright, so we're going to begin in a seated position. I want you to take the legs out in front of you. Again, we're thinking about that lovely alignment. So we want ankles, knees and hips all aligned. Right? I want you to be able to feel your sitting bones in the mat. So that's the bones of your pelvis that you sit on. Okay? So keeping this alignment of the legs, I want you to bring the hands around the backs of the thighs. And I just want you to begin to lengthen all the way out of the tailbone, coming up through the lower spine, through the mid-spine, all the way through the crown of the head. Shoulders relaxed down by the side. Close your eyes. And we're just going to start to take some lovely breaths from here. So we're inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth if we can. If the nose is more comfortable, then stay with that. Now, as I mentioned in class 1, breathing is one of our fundamental principles of Pilates. And when we breathe in Pilates, we breathe deep into the ribs. So think about your rib cage expanding towards your elbows here. Lovely. Last big deep breath in. Find more length in the spine. Length, length, length. Big breath in, and as we exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone between the legs, keeping the shoulders in line with the hips. We're just going to round just through the lower spine. Okay, so we're thinking, and then come back to center. So we're thinking about the pelvis as a bucket of water here. Okay, so when we're sitting upright, we're thinking of the pelvis as this level bucket of water. And when we tip it backwards, we're thinking about tipping water out the back of the bucket. Lovely. So this is that posterior pelvic tilt, what we found in class 1 when we were lying on our backs doing the rolling bridges. Okay, so just like we did in the last class, we're going to really deepen the abdominals and use that abdominals to pull the pubic bone up towards the belly button and round through the spine. Lovely. On your next repetition, you're just going to take that rounding even further and just round through the whole spine. So let that rounding go through the mid-spine, hollowing through the abdominals. Lovely. Gaze goes between the knees, and then we inhale to lift back up. Really nice. Let's do a couple more of these. Lovely job. Last one here. Rounding, shoulders away from the ears, and then lift it up. Stay with the hands behind the knees, or you're going to take the hands in front. We're going to do these roll downs again. So we start by inhaling and lengthening, and we exhale, we tuck the tailbone down. We get the back of the pelvis onto the mat. We see how far down we can roll. Okay, and then we scoop through the abdominals and we'll roll back up to seated. Lovely. And just keep going with these rolls. Now this is called a half roll down. Okay? Or a half roll up, sorry, I should say. So again, we're thinking about mobilizing our spines. We're keeping the shoulder blades nice and wide. And we're really thinking about just hollowing through the abdominals. So not only are we strengthening the abdominals here, but we're also stretching through the back. Lovely work. Last couple here. You might start to feel a bit nippy in the front of the hips. That's totally normal. Knees stay reaching up, toes are long. Nice, let's make this our last one. And then slowly and with control, I want you to see if you can lower yourself all the way to the mat and try and get each and every bone of your spine onto the mat as we come down. I'm just going to shuffle forward a little bit. When we come down, we're going to take the arms overhead and just reach forward, straighten the legs and reach out, enjoying this lovely full body stretch. You can stretch in any way you want. And then you're going to bend the knees, bring the feet flat to the floor, bring the arms down by the sides. Then you're going to swoop the arms overhead. Bring them round the base of the skull, fingertips to skull, don't hang on the head. Draw the shoulder blades down, get the elbows in the peripheral vision. Inhale. Exhale, we're just going to come into those chest lifts, okay, that abdominal prep. Now when we're doing these chest lifts, it's really important that you keep your tailbone down and that you keep the glutes relaxed, okay? Now your bum muscles are really going to want to help you pull up into this abdominal prep, okay, but we're not going to let them. So we really need to be deepening through the navel, through the belly button, thinking about hugging the ribs in. Really good. Last one. And then we're going to bring the next one up and we're going to hold it there. Okay, from here you're going to lift the right leg up into tabletop like we found before, and then the left. And from here we're just going to see if we can take these toe taps. Okay, so we're just folding the knee away and then bringing it back. And we're just going to alternate between these. Okay, so we're just holding that shape. We found this yesterday, or well, in the last class, not yesterday. So see if you can inhale to bring the leg away, and see if you can exhale to come back. Lovely job. Drawing the navel in. See if you can lift the shoulders just that bit higher off the ground. Lovely. Last couple here. Pulling the navel down, deepening that abdominals down. And then bring both knees to tabletop. Release the head down towards the mat. One by one with control, which is another principle of Pilates. Bring the feet down to the mat. Lovely job. Have a quick squeeze of the knees in towards the chest just to release the back. Ooh, my hip just clicked there. Maybe you're going to get some hip clicks as well. And then from here, you're just going to take your arm, your right arm overhead, and we're just going to come onto our side. Okay, so side lying is another common start position in Pilates. So when we're in side lying, we're still thinking about alignment. Okay, so we want underside arm overhead. We want the hips stacked right on top, so top hips right on top of the bottom. Okay, we want the shoulders stacked as well, and you want your top shoulder in line with your top side hip. Okay, when we do side lying, we'll work with this lift in the underside, so we're not collapsing down and just chilling out here. We're thinking about really stretching the top hip away and lifting this underside. In fact, take your hand and give yourself, press your underside waist and find this lovely lift in the underside. Okay, from here I want you to see if you can stretch your arm up towards the ceiling. We want the feet where we can see them, by the way, so we don't want the legs back. And then when you're ready, you're just going to inhale, lift the top leg up to hip height, and then lower. Okay, and up, and then lower. And just keep going with these. So we're thinking about keeping that top hips lengthening away. Alright, and we're thinking about sandwiching the spine with the abdominals and the back muscles from either side. We want to be relaxed through the neck. We want to send all that tension down into the hips. If you need a bit more balance here, and a bit more assistance for your balance, you're going to take your top side hand in front. Okay, so our challenge here is to keep the spine still in this neutral position. Alright, so we're not bending the spine, we're not rounding through the spine like we were when we were seated. We're keeping it nice and still. Last couple here. And then you're going to lift the leg up, and we're just going to go for little circles. Okay, so we're just going to circle round, tiny circles right from the hip joint. Lovely. And then stop, and then reverse. Little circles, all the while trying to keep this top hip stacked. So it's going to want to roll open, right, but we're not going to let it. Last couple here, and then release down to the mat. Bring that top side leg in front, just let it stretch a little bit. Then we're going to do all that on the other side. So push yourself up. In Pilates, we like to move with flow, so we want a nice smooth transition of the legs to the other side. We're going to find that side line position on the other side. So stretch underside arm overhead. Okay, find the stacking of the hips. Get the feet where you can see them, top shoulders in line. Find that lift in the underside. Lovely. And when you're ready, choose your arm position, and you're going to inhale, lift, and then lower. Lovely. So we're lifting and then lowering. So we want the shoulders relaxing down and away from the ears. I just noticed that mine had crept up. Lovely. And we're thinking about keeping everything in the body still apart from that leg that we're moving. Really good. Keep the ear resting on the bicep. So we're going to lift and lower. Well done. Lift and lower. Last one, lift, and we're going to go for those circles, so clockwise first. So right from the hip joint, like you're stirring a cup of tea in the hip, we're going to twist. Now our ribs and our hips are going to want to spill open here, right, but we're not going to let it. We're going to keep this connection between the ribs and the hips to keep our spine nice and still. Lovely job. Then reverse your circle. Keep breathing here. Don't hold the breath. Keep navel drawn to spine. Keep that lovely lift in the underside. If I can come and post a letter underneath you. Really good. Last one. Hold it there. And then release. Bring the knee in front. Allow your leg just to have a little bit of a stretch here. You can rub the side of your hip, whatever you need. Lovely. From here we're going to do our back extension. So I want everyone to come onto that front piece, so onto your bellies, and we're going to lengthen away. We're just going to do what we did in class 1 of this series. So same setup, forehead on the mat. We want the legs lengthening away. Hands are right next to the shoulders. Shoulders tuck into the back pockets, wide across the collarbone. Drawing those lower abdominals away from the mat. And as you inhale, I want you to lengthen forward through the spine and just lift the chest. Lovely. And just keep going with these extensions. Now we're thinking about this lift, rather than being a back bend backwards, we're thinking about the spine extending forwards, okay? So we're thinking about energizing and lengthening forward right from the base of the spine. Okay, so we're going all the way up and then back. Now we're going to come into back bends a little bit later in the series, but for now we're just learning to extend the spine, okay? So before we can bend the spine, we first have to take it out of its natural S-curve and take it into a lovely extended position, and then we bend. Lovely. Think about the tension being right in the middle of the back. Think about pulling the abdominals up from the pubic bone to the belly button as we lengthen forward. Lovely. Last couple here. Nice. Last one, and then we're going to hold. Hold, hold, hold. And then release down to the mat. Push through the hands, send the hips back towards the heels. Come into child's pose, just briefly stretching through the arms. Breathing, sending that breath right into the low ribs. In Pilates we do what's called lateral costal breathing, which means breathing into the sides of the low ribs. It's a really efficient way to breathe, and it allows us to stretch through the back. Lovely. From here you're going to come into an all fours position. Okay, when we're in all fours we want shoulders, thinking about alignment again. We want shoulders right over the tops of the wrists. We want the knees kind of just behind the line of the pelvis. We want to have the hip bones looking down, so the knee position will be different for everyone. Shoulders are away from the ears, abdominals are lifted. When you're ready, you're going to take your right arm out towards the side. You're going to press through the shins and open and twist that arm up towards the ceiling, gazing towards the hand. And then you're going to exhale, bring it through, thread it through the other side of the body, listening to the mat, reaching to the side. Lovely. We're going to do one more here. So we inhale to open. Now I just noticed my hips went back. We want to think about energizing forward here. And then exhale, twist and reach through, listening to the mat. We'll do one more on this side. Inhale, open, really press through the shins, press through the hands, draw the navel to the spine. And then we'll reach all the way through. Think about energizing forward through the spine. Let's go on to the other side. So really find that lovely alignment. Take the left arm out to the side, twist and open towards the ceiling, reach through the fingertips. Exhale, come round, twisting, and then up, all the way. Last one here. So again, we're thinking about that lovely rotation of the spine. Keep grounding through those shins. So we want to be keeping the pelvis nice and still here. So we're just isolating the middle of the back. I've lost count. I don't know if I've done 2 or 3. So let's do one more. Too busy talking. Reaching through. Lovely. And then come back to all fours. From here, you're going to come into a seated position. We're going to take our legs in a cross-legged position. Take the arms out towards the side in line with the shoulders. You're going to take the right arm up and overhead. And we're just going to bend and stretch to the side. Okay, I like to use my grounded hand just to create that little bit more resistance. And I'm anchoring back through that opposite hip, reaching up and over. Lovely. Inhale, come over. And let's go for the other side. So we're bending up through the spine. Again, we're thinking about going up and over, keeping the tailbone lengthening down towards the mat. Lovely. We'll do one more stretch on each side, coming over. Length, and then up, and then last one over, reaching up, and then back to center. Bring the hands on the thighs, close the eyes, and we'll just take 2 lovely deep breaths together to finish. Inhaling Exhale, relaxing. One last deep breath, inhaling. Exhale, just melt into the mat here. Well done, everyone.